I've been trying to figure out how to start this video for the last like 5 minutes, and I can't really think of anything funny to do, so yeah. Anyway, with it now being about a week since Yao Guang did release, today I'm finally here with my first impressions, as I'm finally not too sick to record a video. Besides doing all the new content, when I'm doing any other battles and testing, besides the buffed units as well, I've been using Yao Guang primarily, so it's really just those three. Mainly Sparkle and Yao Guang, just because they're the ones I'm most hyped for in this patch. Especially Yao Guang, I've used it more than really anyone else in this patch. So, just like usual, we're going to be talking about how I felt leading up to the release, and then after the release about how deep I went. So, Yao Guang, leading up to release from the drip market, I was super hyped. I, just off the drip market alone, was so hyped. Her design was so good to me already, which legit saved me from the drought of 3.8. I was so down bad, I was legit about to pull the Dahlia even though I didn't want to. That drip market was the whole reason I was able to have the strength to just skip the rest of the thing. Because not only was I considering Dahlia, I was thinking maybe even picking up like Ewa Lingsha, even though I don't use her. I was thinking of getting E2 Emiya, bro. Like, yeah, that drip marketing actually really did save me. She was also the first new character of the new path, so I was most likely gonna pull her regardless. But of course, just off like an initial look, I was like, it's looking good. This definitely is a character I can see me getting dupes for off design. But of course, we have to wait for like how good they were kit-wise, and how much I liked them in the story, so on and so forth. We didn't really have much about Yao Guang. It was like two like voice appearances in the story, I think. I don't exactly remember in what updates, but I remember one of them was with like Fei Xiao and Jingwan, maybe both of them. I don't actually remember all of them. I know one of them was more recent as well. But yeah, besides that, there wasn't like really much else. So now that we finally were getting her as a character, I was like, okay, design, check. Now we just gotta wait for the rest. Fast forward to when the beta stuff started coming out for the kit and such, and like the new elation mechanics. So mainly not looking at like the new elation mechanic stuff, because obviously that was gonna be universally liked by me because I am a fan of the elation playstyle. She seemed really fun. There was gripes I had, which I still do have, that we will expand upon. But it was cool. She was going to be the first unit to release for elation while also being the buffer, which was a good thing, but also really bad, just because now you get the buffer right away once future characters do release. You're not gonna have to wait for that character to really come out. It's not like Maida and Aglia, who didn't really get an update for the entirety of 3.x until the very end with Cyrene. This time it was like, let's just bring them forward and just have them release now, while being a buffer and also seeming very crucial to the team, because she was able to like force proc Aha instant and stuff, and was generally really fun to use if you did like the playstyle. So for me, really fun to use. The glaring weird problem where she was like mixed between being a DPS and also just being a support at the same time. Being integral with the force proc Aha instant, she was able to do all these, but also just weirdly. Her only form of damage was in her elation skill, because her basic attack does no damage. Even as someone with E6, that basic attack does negative damage. Skill was a zone deploy, so the ult itself wasn't an attack, and rather the force proc Aha instant. The damage was mainly just loaded into one attack that she does have, which is passable. It's not necessarily a big problem, but then when you looked at her general amp, it wasn't necessarily something that like blew you away. It did provide ulti breast pen and was able to increase elation, and it was very clear that she was not really going to be someone to use with existing characters, which is a big bummer, but I guess somewhat makes sense. It's not like you're going to use Cyrene out of air teams. I mean, I guess if you get E2, you can be like, oh, damage dealt plus the true damage, mainly just because true damage enabling is so broken. But with Yao Guang, it was a little different with elation. It's gonna be something where you have to have like multiple elation characters to get a good amount of elation to do more damage. But yeah, even in general, it was just like 20% ulti breast pen, which is good, and also making enemies take more damage and then increasing elation. Overall, like solid, but not anything like super crazy. It was very clear they're trying to get like a mix of like buffing and damage for herself. But then the whole force proc Aha instant, that's where the main value lies. But the main problem with that was the fact that her energy requirements are awful. With their signature light cone, when they did add the actual, you gain 15 energy at the start of each wave, that was the reason you're able to get ultimate first. You would get it, you would use it, Aha instant proc right away, any debuffs from elation skills would go on to them, so including hers. You get that big damage off right away, and then you don't see that ult for a while. In my should you summon video, I did address how I do think they're going to fix this, because it's still, like, even after release, a problem. She is a big energy black hole, but throughout the beta cycle, that was something I was hoping would be improved. Like, I was really fine with everything. I just really wish her energy problems were fixed. That was really the only thing that held her back. You could make up for the other problems that she would have if she was able to reliably proc Aha instant on her ult without like a bunch of RNG of getting hit, energy support, so on. But they didn't. The most we got was that extra energy part in the beginning of like V3, I think, where she got that extra energy in the line of her light cone. That was it. It didn't necessarily do much, and I am someone who's zero cycle, so of course that is even worse for me, who doesn't really see her ultimate that much more. Of course, for people that like go for like full 5 like cycles and stuff, which I'm not saying anything's wrong with that. I'm just saying for me as a 0 cycler personally, it was just something that was kind of like eh. And then also in V3, they did very much amp her damage. They also did reduce the little bit of fun you could have with Archer, because now the whole additional skill points to get more elation damage proc from her talent was changed to just once with 1 skill point consumption. You couldn't get more and more for the amount of skill points used anymore. But even then, it's not like she was going to be an upgrade on the team. It's very clearly in mind that she was going to be for elation, and not really anything outside of that. But yeah, fast forward, I was still set on getting dupes for her just because, again, I like elation. I know I'm going to get a form of a team for it. I'm going to warp it, and I'm going to try to make Yao Guang the DPS just to have the most fun with it. But yeah, my problems with like the energy and stuff, and then like the weird-ish kit, it's still a problem that it does sit with me even after release, but I definitely do think the major parts will get addressed later on. But yeah, then there was not really any changes after that. Then we got to like the release, or at least close to it. I was still set on going all in just because, again, I love her design. And then seeing like her in-game screenshots and stuff, she looks so stunning. And you guys know this by now, but I'm not really someone to E6 a character just off pure strength. I mean, you're talking to the guy who E6 on Noxo over like Castris. I have to really like them to E6 them. If they're really strong, hey, I win there. Yao Guang's dupes are good, especially for personal damage. But that brings me to this next point that I'm going to talk about, like, after releasing stuff. How I went straight for E6. Obviously, I tested her a lot via other means of, like, low investment, either S0, S1, E1, E2, whatever. I went in for the full E6 not knowing how her personality was going to be like, because I was confident I was going to like her. I gambled that. I just took a complete gamble. I just assumed I'm going to like her in the story. Pure gamble. I legit cannot stress that. I did not know anything about her. All we had was like the trailers and stuff, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna gamble it. So before even knowing anything about the story, I did that stream with my E6. Lo and behold, I did the story like 2 days ago as I'm uploading this. I do absolutely love her. I love her so goddamn much. They made a character who is hot and cute at the same time. Like, ah. But yeah, there's like, I'm not going to talk about the story too much because I'm sure not many people have done it yet. But yeah, the gamble paid off. I love this character. She's probably my like favorite character in that entire story so far. With number 2 probably being Asheville, but that's just because he really got like no lines. He got like barely any lines, and he's up there for me. That probably means in 4.1 he's gonna be like at the top. And I'm probably E6ing Asheville, so yep, there's that. Anyway, so like now besides like the story stuff, like an actual kit usage, of course, like all the release stuff with like the energy issues, all that still does apply. That doesn't necessarily affect how much fun I'm having with her though. I think she is so fun, even just as a main DPS carry. Of course, that is not something you do without Eidolon investment. A big gripe I do have with that is just because of how elation works and how there's not really much to buff it. I'm very much locked to always using Tribi, Cypher, and also Sparkle. Sparkle also has like attack buffs in her kit, so those are practically just wasted. Of course, in the future, that's probably going to be less and less of a problem, just as more characters can benefit elation, plus more elation characters can also benefit each other, as every elation release is most likely going to benefit each other in some way, shape, or form. Not even in some way, shape, or form. It's always going to be a new elation character is going to generate more punchline, which is universally going to be good, shared across all elation characters. But yeah, just like even as a release, I'm really using her as a main DPS. Just because my investment, and you can see in the background footage, she does so much damage. It's so fun watching enemies just disappear. Of course, I can't talk too much about her actual role as an elation support, because there's not anyone else to try her with. But it's very clear, despite the issues, that she is going to be on majority of their teams. Maybe in the future, there'll be someone that does what she does more effectively, because, you know, the nature of this game, and also, like, with the issues she has, if it doesn't get solved, then it might be something to bite back later. But we're just gonna have to give that time and see. Of course, we can't tell. With the release of Sparksy, she's going to be on those teams. She's going to make that team really good. With the release of like 4.2 characters probably being elation for both Silverwolf and Yai, she'll probably be on one or both of their teams as well. Is going to cook there at like any investment just because of what she does. Like, I know I dog on the energy problem a lot. I dog on like the whole like problem with that. But force proccing Aha Instant, if that does remain unique for her majority of 4.x, maybe one character gets it like super later, that alone is going to be so valuable for anyone that does have elation as their path. Just because that's a free elation skill you get off. That doesn't actually consume any of the punchline or anything. And 20 punchline itself is pretty solid, but if you get the E1, it doubles. And also gives you defense and growth for elation damage. So like early investment on her is also just really good. Her S1's really good. Her E1's better. E1 S1 is obviously the best. Her E2, it's probably a dupe that's going to get better with time. 12% speed on an E2 is like eh. But the elation increase obviously affecting her is going to be good. But again, more elation characters, the further your elation goes, that E2 is going to push it up even higher and make it even better. But yeah, just like as an E0 S1 enabler for like the AHA instant stuff is going to be just really solid. E1 S0 and even E0 S0. Of course, E0 S0 would struggle the most because you don't have that extra energy being given. But she does have that free to play option you can use. As a base, her core role is going to be completely fine. And then, of course, testing her with other characters that exist in the game, it's really just like a fun aspect. She's not going to be an upgrade for any of them, unfortunately, which is a bit of a bummer. One of my favorite parts is running whack teams, and especially when it makes it work good. But just running like an E6, yeah, again, like my Yao Guang is E6. Running an E6 Yao Guang over just like an E1 or E2 support, the Yao Guang is going to perform less. At least when you're not accounting for personal damage and stuff. But yeah, just despite that for elation team specifically, it's very clear that all her early investments and stuff is going to be good. Her at a base is going to be integral, at least until someone else does something similar, if not better later on. But even then, she's probably always going to be a second best option. So for anyone really getting into elation, she is a safe pick. I'm still not going to back down my statement where I recommended people to skip 4.0. And if they do remain on the teams later on to just get the rerun, I still recommend that 100%. But even if she would, let's say, get replaced, she would still be a second option you can always fall back on, as her buffs are never going to be bad for elation because she can straight up increase elation, provide additional elation damage, alt-type respan which affects elation, and then make enemies take more damage which also impacts elation, and then the force proc AHA instant. I do hope to see in the future that there's going to be a character with an elation skill that either increases speed, provides energy, or both. Because she does want a good amount of speed, because more speed will increase more elation for her bonus conversion. But it's mainly for energy. I do hope a future character provides some form of energy. Just because ults for these elation characters, like we go off Yao Guang especially, but also Sparksy, ultimates are important. And that's why running someone like Fofo is really important as well. So my guess is in the future there's going to be an elation character that provides energy in the forms of buffs and base kit, elation skill, or both. And that is probably going to solve any Yao Guang black hole issues of energy, which is definitely going to solve my biggest issue. And hey, maybe they'll open some like whack combinations you can do in the future outside of just running specific ones. But yeah, overall first impressions of Yao Guang, I'm definitely very excited to see what she can do in the future. Definitely holds up good. Unfortunately, she's just released at a really bad slot. I know that's like the main title point of this video, and I'm only now mentioning it, but like, yeah, she is released in like, again, I get it. Like, she's released as a support for a team that she's going to be on for most, but she's just releasing right away as a character you don't want to use on other teams as like no form of an upgrade. I think that's just a bad slot. I think what they should have done is made both Sparksy and Yao Guang at the same time for the entire duration patch. Like, I get making Yao Guang the whole duration, that also makes it easier, but I feel like it should have been both, or I think Sparksy should have been first. Just because Sparksy can actually function without Yao Guang relatively well. I mean, of course, Yao Guang makes an insane difference on the team for main DPS, but at least Sparksy uses a good form of other characters on the team already, at least until more elation characters come out. But Yao Guang, she doesn't actually go on any other teams. Like, you're only doing it for a pure, like, fun aspect. Or maybe to, like, really open a team slot for someone, like, maybe, like, on an Archer team where you really need to free up someone there to put on a different team. That's, like, the only two cases. It's not actually an upgrade, and I just think this is a really bad time to release her. Like, again, releasing the sport earlier on is good just because you have it later, but I feel like they should have done it to where Sparksy released at the same time, if not just first. Because now, until Sparksy comes out, Yao Guang is just in this super awkward slot, and there's a good amount of people that play the game that don't actually like watch content creators such as myself or the bigger ones. They might pull her and just be like, what am I doing with this character? Like, she's not really doing anything for that. Of course, that is different. That's like a whole other topic, and her releasing at this time might genuinely warp how some people think about the character, because a lot of people are not gonna know that she is completely for elation. They're gonna be like, damn, I pulled this character for a support, she sucks. I know that's like a controversial thing, just because you should be smarter with that. You should read the kit, you should see it's very clearly for elation, or you should very clearly search up some info. I'm not gonna get into it too much of that, but people like that exist. There's thousands of those kind of people. But not even just for their sake, just in general, I think Yao Guang should have either released second, or both Sparksy should have been at the same time as Yao Guang for the entire patch duration. Generally, that would have been the better outcome, just so people's opinions on Yao Guang isn't warped and you don't really pull a character, especially at lower investment, that doesn't really do anything for your box until you get into other stuff. And God forbid the people that want to pull Yao Guang because maybe they like her and don't want to pull Sparksy, because now you're gonna have 3 or like 2-ish weeks, because the patch is shorter, of not having anything extra, then like 4 weeks of more of nothing to use until we hit anniversary patch, which is going to introduce more elation characters to use with Yao Guang. So God forbid anyone is in that situation as well, which I potentially potentially might be, by the way. Like, I don't like Sparkly. So I'm praying for myself. But, you know, my Yao Guang's a DPS, so that's a little different. Anyway, as you can tell from overall performance at like early investment, I definitely have my reasons on why I do think she's good. Problems that I hope are addressed in the future, and then later on investment, the further you go, the more of a powerhouse she becomes alone. Future elation characters, I can't wait to use a future sub DPS or DPS to buff my Yao Guang when it's supposed to be flipped. That's what I'm gonna do. And then in the story, love her. I actually just love her. But yeah, that brings this video to a close. If you did find this video enjoyable to watch, dropping a like would be greatly appreciated. If you're new to the channel or haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe and turn on the bell icon for future videos like this, along with all the types of style content. If you know any more funny ways I can start videos, comment that down below because I'm out of ideas right now. And anyway, I'll see you later. It's like negative 26 degrees Celsius outside, by the way. Like, and I have my window open. What am I doing with my life? Anyway, see ya.